Just like you guys absolutely loved my trolling video last year, and I'm not a trolling guy, but I trolled last year with a 3-way rig and you guys absolutely loved the video. So we're back out trolling, and we're actually gonna be trolling tubes with lead core today for lake trout. We've been absolutely hammering them today, casting to them with Livescope. Not everybody has access to Livescope, and a lot of people like to troll and just sit and relax. I've had a long day, and sitting relaxing and letting the trolling motor do the work today, it sounds like a lot of fun. So we got lead core rod over here, and we have a little number 4 Dodger right here. So what I've done is I've taken one of my 3.75 inch glow in the dark tubes, so this glows chartreuse when it's, gets down in the water. And I've taken a bait needle, which you can buy right off Amazon like I did. It just makes it easier. You can do it manually. And I threaded that through the top of the tube. And this is easier to do when I'm not on camera. And the wind's not howling at me. And I'm gonna pull that line through, just like that. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a big red treble hook on the back of this. Part of the way up here, I have a lot of extra line here. We wanna be about, I don't know, about yay far behind the Dodger. You don't have to run a Dodger if you don't want to. A lot of people run like cowbells. There's all sorts of things you can do to make some flash around your target, basically your actual tube. And then we're going to do a polymer knot on the back of that, or whatever knot you trust. Polymer knot's my favorite. Put that Dodger between my legs there so it stops getting in the way. And this is a pretty big hook, and I prefer not to run treble, but it works better with these tubes. And then we're just going to pull that line up till that tube's kind of smashed into the back of there, all the legs, and then you just want to straighten that legs out just a little bit. Now, since you are trolling and there's very little action that you can integrate into the rod, you can grab the rod and stuff like that, but if you want to be lazy, what I highly suggest is putting some sort of scent on. So we are in an alewife-based lake. For the most part, there is whitefish and some other fish in here, but we're going to use Lunker lotion, and we're going to squirt that up in there. You can use Cisco, whatever you want, whatever scent bait species is kind of in your lake, and then we're going to troll that right behind the boat. And it just it's a tube. It just never stops moving. I probably should have fixed all the tails before I got them all lubed up there, but that's all right. There we go. Now we're going to throw this off the side and start trolling. So we're actually trolling with the Minn Kota Altera. So I can just power on my remote and then set my boat speed. I'm probably going to troll fairly slow, just about 1.1 mile an hour. These lake trout are very lethargic. Water temp is actually 33 degrees, like we just had ice off like last week on the majority of the lake. And so we are going to turn it on and kind of aim it. We're actually going to go troll over a hump right now, and we are going to speed lock in. Start at 1.2 right on the remote there. And we're using a Cabela's or a Bass Pro Depth Master rod with a Model 30 reel on it. And I forgot to hit autopilot, so we're doing that. And we're fishing in about 30 to 40 feet. So we're gonna do quite a few colors going out. We're about 5 feet per color. And we have a bunch of humps around us that we're trolling kind of in between. And it is blustery, cold, and windy out here, obviously. So there's 2 colors. It's about 10 feet down. 3 colors. I think that's 4 colors. 5 colors should be 25 feet. Set our clicker. And then set our drag accordingly. I'm coming over a giant school of bait here, which is pretty cool. And we came off our hump, so we're gonna actually spin downwind and back around again. And since I'm impatient, we're gonna flip the boat around 180 here and get back into our area. And we're coming up on the hump here. should start to see some action. Yep, that's fish. Yep, that's a fish. I knew they were just messing with it. That didn't take long at all. Stuff is super simple. Get in there. This is a little guy for this lake, but first laker on the tube. Who would have thought? Pretty easy, guys. Pretty easy. The lakers just love tubes. Back in she goes. And all we're gonna do is fix this back up here. Send it back out. We're doing 1 mile an hour right now, which is probably not fast enough for the wind that's coming at my face, coming from the west. So we're getting kind of blown off course here, but we're gonna go over another hump here in a minute. And try to reset your counter before you do that first pass there. Like I forgot. And I'll leave the link for all of the baits, the line, and the hooks below. Oh, there's a bunch of lakers behind me, or underneath me, actually, well, right now, actually. Since we're just cruising here, you nibbling on it or what? If you get nibbles like that, grab a hold of that line and jerk it. I mean, lake trout are super interactive fish. They want to mess around with stuff. They like to chase. Give that thing a few jerks. Oh yeah, there's a fish on there. There he is. There he is. All right. So like I said, my camera was gonna die, but the only thing still alive is my cell phone. So I just caught a massive laker trolling. That thing is a fatso. Look at how heavy that thing is. Absolute beast. What a chunk. What a chunk. Wild fish here on Lake Champlain. I'm gonna speed this up just a little bit just to get us closer to the next target area. We've been finding lakers in like 30 feet and under for the most part, maybe 40 feet and under. As soon as we get past that, it turns into just bait. And then if we get under that, like 20 feet and under, it's turned into smallmouth. So trying to stay in the sweet zone. So I'm sure you all know this. If you can't get down to the 1.1, 0.8 to like 1.2 miles an hour for lakers, you can troll a little bit faster if you want. I have the Mercury with the troll speed control on it, but I'm not done braking in this motor, so I don't want to troll with it quite yet. What you can do is trim your motor up so it's high enough so it can still drink water or cool itself off. That will slow you down. Or tow buckets or a drag sock basically, and that will also slow you down to that speed. You can go a little bit faster, you can go a little bit slower. It's all about what your Lakers want to do and what your water temp is. If your water temp's cold like now, they're active, but they're not crazy active. Once it starts to get a little bit warmer, you can go a little bit faster. It's all depending on water temp. Right now, this seems to be the sweet speed for the last couple early spring trips that I've done. It's pretty dang slow, which is painful to do in the boat, but is what it is. And we're trolling over our third hump right now. Also, another quick bonus tip. If you know your line is set to 100 feet and I'm near snags, I'm relatively close to snagging bottom. These lake trout are very bottom oriented this time of year, or at least where I am. Yank that rod a few times and kind of get used to that weight. If that weight gets any heavier, then you got a bunch of leaves or sticks snagged onto your line. It might not trip your little ratchety thing, or it might not trip the rod, but fish won't bite it if there's weeds on it. 99.9% of the time. I've only seen one video where a pike or a muskie ate something with weeds on it. It is possible, but I think lake trout are pretty smart. So just a feel test, if you're casting a normal rod, you can feel those weeds on it. You can get used to that. So I just got a possible hit. So I just changed direction. So we're gonna jig it a little bit. And I've had to increase my speed just because I'm going into the wind for a minute, and then I'll slow it back down to the 1.1, 1.2. One more quick tip here. If you keep getting short strikes and they're not actually hooking up, what I want you to do is tighten your tension knob, which is this one right here. This is your tension knob that controls that, and that's your clicker to put more tension on it, basically. Tighten that tension knob, because lake trout, their entire mouth is like the roof of your mouth. That bony part up there where your tongue, put your tongue on the top of your mouth. It's like that. It's all bone, except for the tiny little lip part on the outside. It's a very small target. Most of the time you want to get them back into that bony part. So what happens is they'll keep short striking it and they won't actually get the hooks into them. The rod will bend over and it still won't set the hook. If that's still not working with that tension knob tightened all the way, what you can do is put your retriever on and make sure your drag is set properly. So when that fish bites, you can pick it up, you can just kind of set the hook instantly. I'm using 20-pound test, and I think the braid and everything's rated for over that, so shouldn't have any issues with setting hooks. I apologize again for not showing that fish on video. Like I said, I've been out here for 11 hours. All my GoPro batteries are dead. All my backup batteries are dead. But that was a banger of a fish to end the day of 11 hours out here. We were casting first, and then we decided to do a trolling video. So if you guys want to support the channel, go to benditfish.com. That's where I have the tubes that I use in this video. These aren't just white tubes. These are glow-in-the-dark pearl tubes, specifically for lake trout. They're heavy duty. You'll go through almost no tubes all day long because the rubber is so strong in those. So visit benditfish.com. If you want to learn more about lake trout, either click here or click here, and I'll see you in one of those next videos.